Only the Board B Equality mark ensures you know where your food comes from, because it's independently checked at every stage.
This series is all about making good food fast, and the recipes I've chosen can be completed in under 30 minutes. Some just take 10 minutes or less. I've been visiting some amazing locations where the chefs have to feed a very large number of people in a short space of time. Today, I'm delighted to be at the European headquarters of Google in Dublin, because I've heard that the food here is excellent. When Google decided to set up its European headquarters in Dublin in 2003, it employed 70 people here. Now the company employs around 2,500 people in its campus near the Grand Canal dock. The man in charge of the food here is Brian Begley, whose small catering company was employed by Google when it opened its first office in Ireland 12 years ago. Brian, this has got to be the coolest office I've ever been to. Where exactly are we?
Right now we're in what we call the Golden Gate, and this is really a barista bar that we opened up quite recently. It forms one of 4 different cafes that we have across the campus here.
Tell me about the food offering here at Google.
Well, we have a very diverse population here, as you can imagine. We've people from really all over the world. So what we concentrate on doing is making sure that we create options that are attractive to everybody. The cafe just around the corner focuses on serving a mix of world cuisine and chef signature dishes. Across the road, we have another cafe called The Garage, and that's really serving street food. And we have a rotisserie over there, which is another focal point in that restaurant. We have another restaurant, and that restaurant specialises in serving Irish-themed food.
Now, I know healthy eating is a big part of the menu planning here. Tell me a little bit how you get that across in the menu.
Well, we use an interesting method, and we call it the traffic light system.
What is this? I've never heard of this.
When you come along and you're queuing to select your dish or your choice, we colour-code it. So, for instance, if the dish that you're considering is colour-coded green, really what we're saying to you is, by all means, go ahead and really enjoy this dish. If it's colour-coded as an amber dish, we're saying, also, go ahead, enjoy it, but just be a little bit more sensible. Maybe don't take too much of it.
In moderation.
In moderation, exactly. And if it's red, well, we're never going to say, don't take it, but just don't take it with the same frequency, or don't have so much of it, maybe. But really, it's up to the Googlers to make that decision.
You attach a great deal of importance to the healthiness of the food and offer here.
Really, our focus is to enable the Googlers to be at their best every day. And we do that by ensuring that we always use, fresh produce like fresh fish, lean meats, lots of fruit and vegetables. We would always tend to use whole grains, lots of nuts. And we believe by doing that, it does lead to people eating better and as a result being very productive.
And I'm sure cooking techniques are very important.
We would tend to grill our vegetables, steam our dishes versus boiling them. Again, we see it as a way of protecting the nutrients in the dish. In the kitchen, our head chef, he's waiting to prepare a really interesting dish with you, Neven.
Well, I'm looking forward to meeting him, and it's lovely to meet you, and thank you so much for having me here at Google.
You're very welcome.
It was lovely to meet you.
You too, Neven.
Thank you for having me into your kitchen.
You're welcome.
I'll tell you, I'm very impressed. It's probably the most colourful kitchen I've ever been into, if I'm being honest with you.
You're dead right, yeah.
So what are you going to cook for me today?
Today, Neven, I'm going to do a phyllo parcel, stuff it with a Bluebell Falls goat's cheese, some truffle-infused honey, some Bramley apple. I'm also going to do a salsa incorporating 3 different kinds of beetroot.
Okay.
Some tiger tomatoes, some bell pepper, and some spring onion.
Well, I know you're getting ready for lunch, so I'm here to help you. What would you like me to do?
Okay,
first
maybe
of all?
if you could mix the goat's cheese for me.
Yes, of course. And this is Bluebell.
Bluebell
which is a
goat's
fabulous
cheese, yeah.
goat's cheese.
Some honey and some of the apple there as well.
Okay.
And what I'll do here is I'll just get the phyllo pastry ready.
Goat's cheese. Aren't we lucky to have such great cheese in Ireland?
Yes, we are indeed. Yeah, that's actually comes from Charleville in County Cork.
Are you very particular where your produce comes from?
We try to use a lot of Board B
Yes.
approved products.
That's amazing. Truffle honey.
Beautiful, yeah, beautiful.
How much do you want in? 10 minutes
Just like half teaspoon. So we're just going to brush this with some
Wow.
rapeseed oil.
Okay.
We have 3 squares here.
Yeah.
And we're just going to make them in a... Just going to layer them.
Apple in here?
No, actually, I'm going to put the
okay.
apple at the bottom of the...
Thyme in here.
Okay.
Fresh thyme.
So what I'm going to do is here, I'm just going to put this in the pan by hand.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll have the apple in here, and I'll just be waiting on your goat's cheese there.
So you must cook for huge amount of people here every day.
Well, on site, maybe 5,000 people. That's between 3 cafes.
That's incredible. So just soften this up.
To soften that up.
Thyme in there.
That's it.
Okay. Okay. Now,
Just a small bit in the middle pan by hand
small
there.
spoonful. Okay. Is that enough?
That's perfect.
Are you sure? In the
Yeah.
centre. Perfect.
And all I'll do is I'll just fold this in. And I'm going to put it into one of these.
They're cute, aren't they?
Yeah, if you want to just brush it a little bit of oil. The reason why I put them
Yeah.
in this dish is just so they keep their shape and they don't burst.
So brush this over the top
Yeah,
just with a little bit of
slight
oil.
Yeah, I'm interested in just doing another one here.
So the apple, so this is Bramley apple?
Bramley apple, yeah.
Just diced.
Okay, small dice.
Okay, any lemon in there or anything? No?
We have now just a little bit of brown sugar. We'll just put it in here.
Yeah.
We'll place this in the oven for 200 degrees for
Okay.
about 6 minutes.
Perfect, okay.
Here's actually some I done earlier. All right.
That's my line, I always say that. Hold on now.
Yeah, there we go.
So this is them.
And
They're gorgeous.
this is a dish we'd typically do
Yes.
in Google. So this is served maybe 10 to 12 people.
These are a different variety of...
Three different kinds of
yes.
beetroot. We've baked them for 45 minutes, cooled them, peeled them, and we just sliced them.
So bake them skin on,
Bake them skin on.
and then you slice them
Slice them
really thin.
really thin, yeah.
Gorgeous.
And also we have different kinds. We have cubed here and just a slice as well.
And they're very colourful, aren't they?
Very colourful, yeah.
So just like the kitchen here.
Just like the kitchen, yeah, and the chefs as well.
Yeah, and the Very good. All right, so what do we serve with this? A salsa,
Okay,
is that
so we're
what
going
you
to do a
said?
salsa here as
Okay.
well, yeah. Incorporating all the different things that we have here. Some peppers here.
So you have them diced and seeded.
Yeah, diced tomatoes here.
They're an unusual tomato.
Yeah.
All these tomatoes,
Full of flavour,
heirloom,
yeah.
all these are all in now.
Some diced cucumber.
Cucumber, so very, very finely
Yeah.
diced.
And that's it, and just a little bit of dressing in this. So at this stage now we're ready to dress the plate.
So all over.
All over, yeah.
What food offering is here now in this restaurant?
We like to cater for all different choices. We have vegetarian, we have vegan, but we cater for the meat lovers as well. So it's a varied menu. We offer probably about 18 different dishes a day.
And you do breakfast and lunch.
Just breakfast and lunch, that's enough, yeah.
Wow.
That keeps us going, you know.
Now, what about these?
So I'm just going to
Yeah.
roughly place them along.
So many would you serve of these per serving?
I recommend two,
Two,
but I
okay.
leave it entirely up to the customer.
Really
what-
colourful.
Okay.
And you have nice height, nice texture.
Nice bit of height, nice bit of texture, yeah.
I like the way the goat's cheese is kept in. It's not burst at the bottom. Beautiful. So that's the secret. 3 layers of the phyllo, isn't it?
3 layers, that's
Yeah.
it. Again, this is the dressing that I put into the salsa.
So what's in that dressing?
I have some Dijon mustard.
Yes.
Again, the rapeseed oil. And a little bit of balsamic vinegar.
Balsamic vinegar.
So that's it.
And you'll serve how many of these today?
1,000 maybe.
How colourful that is. It looks beautiful.
Very
so
colourful,
does.
yeah.
Do you mind if I taste it?
No, go for it.
So a little bit of the phyllo. And would beetroot be very popular on the menu?
Well, it's a winter dish, I suppose, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
so it's,
true.
yeah.
There's a lot of work in this dish.
Yeah,
You know.
we've plenty of chefs to do it, so no, I don't do it myself.
It's all about a good team. No, you delegate and you
I
need
delegate,
to do
delegate, yeah.
that. You know what I love? It's the truffle honey. It's amazing with the apple.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Delicious. David, thank you so much for having me in your
pleasure.
kitchen. Wish
Yeah,
you continued
thank you.
success. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Later on in the show, I'll be cooking here in Google, but for now, it's back to Black Lion. Kebabs are wonderful if you have a large group of people coming to your house because you can make them up and you can let them cook their own. I'm using lamb mince, but you can make them with pork mince and also beef mince. So there's 3 elements to this dish. Making the kebabs, I'm going to make some red pepper hummus now in a moment, and then some flatbreads. Hummus is from the Middle East, so I have a can of chickpeas which I've just rinsed, 2 cloves of garlic, some red chilli, some cumin, juice of 1 lemon, and then we're using this paste, which is a tahini. It's a sesame paste, so it is. You'll get this in any supermarket health food shop. Into this, we're going to put roasted red peppers, and you can buy these now in every supermarket. They're already pre-roasted. Cut them in half, and then pop them in here. Put some salt and black pepper into this. Put a little drop of water, a spoonful or so. Blitz this up. Now, it's ready. This is what it looks like here. You see the little speckles from the red pepper and from the chilli. I'm just going to simply put it into a bowl. It's a lovely dip for canapes, for little crackers, just for nibbles if you're having friends around. It's a great thing to have in your fridge. Drizzle some extra virgin olive oil over it. I love the way the oil runs over it. Some more black pepper. And that's the first element of this dish ready to go. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the kebabs. We have quality assured Irish lamb. Lamb, I think, mince is very underused. 1 onion diced, some cumin, and that's the beauty about lamb. It takes on a lot of flavours and a lot of spices. This is hot paprika. Again, you could use some smoked paprika. We have some coriander, and coriander works really well. So that's some ground coriander, and then I have some dried oregano. Stir this through here. Gonna put some salt and pepper. And the easiest way to do it is just get your hands in there. Just get it all mixed through. Just kind of knee it down, just with your knuckles, and just mix it all together. So in this mixture, there's no eggs and there's no breadcrumbs. What you could put in, instead of the oregano, some fresh mint, which works really good. Sun-dried tomatoes, those kind of things. So experiment at home. So we're gonna shape these into our kebabs. So for the kebabs, I'm using bamboo skewers, which I've soaked for about 20 minutes. And the reason why I do that, stop them from burning, but also it keeps the meat really, really moist. A little bowl of cold water here, and just simply roll it. So dip your fingers in there. We're going to roll them kind of oval shape, like a small little egg. That's exactly what I'm looking for there. So we're going to do 3 of these per kebab. If you wanted to make these ahead, you could do them the night before, but make sure to cover them in cling film in the fridge. Make sure they have them all kind of uniform size. And then just with the kebab stick, just push them through. Bring that right down, and then again press it. It should all hold together pretty okay. So we're going to put 3 on each kebab stick. So I'm just going to cook 2 of these. I think you'd want 2 per serving. So they're ready to go on to the griddle pan, which I have nice and hot. I'm just going to drizzle them with a little bit of oil. Just a drizzle. And then coat them with the oil. You want to hear it sizzling. Perfect. So that's part 2 of the recipe. I wash my hands. Then we're going to make some flatbreads, which work really well with this. So you can use pita breads. If you have time, it's nothing nicer than making your own bread. So this would be traditionally served with a curry. It's a type of naan bread, but there's no yeast in it. So we have some yogurt, we have some warm water, so everything goes in, some egg. Mix this all together. So the yogurt keeps everything lovely and moist, and also it gives a lovely acidity flavour to the bread. Just like in Ireland we use buttermilk. Now I'm going to sieve in some self-raising flour, so that's what's going to lighten these bread. Just sieve it in. Put in 1 green chilli, so there's a little bit of a kick into this, and some coriander. And of course, in Indian food, coriander probably is the most used herb, so lots of that beautiful coriander. Just chop it nice and fine. Now in goes my liquid into the middle. And just using a wooden spoon, you just mix this all together. So you're making a lovely soft dough. So see the technique, you just roll the bowl round, and that's what you have, a lovely, lovely soft dough. Flour on the board, and we're going to knead this for about 30 seconds. Now before I do that, I want to have a little look at the kebabs. Perfect, beautiful. Golden brown. I started them off on a high heat. I'm going to turn it down. And don't panic when you're doing this, just be really gentle with them. Now if you can see that there, it's lovely, kind of barbecued effect, it's fantastic. So for the flatbreads, just knead it very, very slightly. So you work it towards you, and then just with your knuckles, because it's a very, very light bread. Happy with that? Just rip off a piece. You should get about 4 flatbreads from this. If you want to be really particular, you can cut them. But this is quite a rustic bread. Now, before I do this, I want to have my pans nice and hot. Just a little drizzle of oil. Using a rolling pin. Tiny wee bit of flour. And then I'm just going to roll these lengthways. You can roll them into any shape. Keep lifting it every time you roll it. Now, because they're so thin, they don't take long to cook. So I think 2 is more than enough to put on there. Reduce the heat, start it off on a high heat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them about 2 minutes on either side, then I'm going to flip them over. Meanwhile, I'm going to clean up here. After 2 minutes, they're ready to be turned. Using your tongs, be very, very careful. It's amazing not cooking a bread in an oven. Last year I got to visit Ananda. Sunil Guy was the chef there in Dundrum, and the way he made his beautiful naan bread, just threw it at the side of the oven. I'd never seen that before. Fabulous. So I'm going to give them another minute or 2, and then we're ready to serve. The flatbreads are ready, so I'm ready to serve up. first of all, one flatbread, lift off the kebabs, and I love the way they've caught a lovely bit of colour. So they've caramelised. Just arrange two of them. I'm going to serve this with a little bit of lemon and then some fresh coriander. Just put that all over. And just on the side, some nice rocket salad. And I think that's a wonderful dish using lamb mince. Now, you don't have to serve all the three elements together, but they work really well and they're very quick to make. Give it a go.
Look for the Board Be Equality mark, because it looks after you. Look for the Board Be Equality mark, because it looks after you.
I'm back here in Google and I thought I'd come up with a dish that was quick, healthy, nutritious, and also had an international feel to it. It's a Vietnamese soup with chicken dumplings. So the first thing I need to do is to make up the soup. I'm going to use lots of different flavours in this dish. So first of all, some root ginger and some garlic. I'm going to crush this. And this is going to be base for the actual stock. 1 clove of garlic in here. Peel the garlic, crush it in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grate in the root ginger. I've had the pleasure of being to Vietnam once, and I have to say I was blown away with the people, the food, the culture. Such a beautiful country. So root ginger, that goes in there. Put in the zest of some lime. We're going to use the juice later on to finish it off when it's reduced. But I'm going to sit this on, I'm just going to grate this in here. So we're going to flavour our stock with all these lovely ingredients. So what I have here, this is a really, really great ingredient called carved lime leaves. Now you'll get these in the Asian supermarket, usually frozen. The dried ones are fine, but they wouldn't be as flavoursome as the fresh frozen ones. And they're absolutely wonderful in a stock syrup. So I'm going to put 2 or 3 of these in, and I'm just going to tear them. And if you're making like fresh fruit salad, these are delicious, or even cooking fish. So it's well worth having in your freezer. Take them out, and they actually keep really, really well. Some star anise, which is the lovely aniseed flavour. I'm going to put in 3 star anise into this, and 1 cinnamon. So there's lots of flavour going on in here. So there is. Now, into this then we're going to put, of course, some chilli. Just roll it, move the seeds. I'm just going to top and tail it, and then I'm just going to remove the seeds here. Take your time doing this. So I'm not going to chop this because we're going to serve a little bit of fresh chilli at the very end. I'm going to infuse the stock with the full chilli. And again, if you're using spices, start off with half a chilli and you can always increase it. And then our stock. This is some chicken stock. I'm going to half fill this. Flavour it with this nam plat, a salty kind of fish sauce. This is really important for seasoning. Also, it's great in stir fries. Making a stir fry with beef, anything like that works really well. So just going to bring it to the boil, turn on the induction, full heat, and after 20 minutes it's lovely and reduced, slightly thickened. So bring it to the boil, simmer it, and then you infuse it. So this can be done a day or 2 ahead, and then what you can do is just make your dumplings, which I'm going to do next. Chop half a chilli in this, and we're going to remove the seeds. And I'm going to put some herbs. Coriander works really well in this. I'm going to just put this into the food processor with the minced chicken. Watch your fingers when you're doing this. Chop it really, really fine. So there's a little bit of a kick from this. So every so often, just throw your eyes just over your broth. And that's essentially what it is, because there's no flour. It's a very, very light soup, so it is. This is our minced chicken. So if you just go to your local butcher, get them to mince some quality assured Irish chicken, and it just makes it easier for this. Place half of this into the bowl. Now before I blend it, I'm going to put in some more lime zest into this. So just using your grater. So this is came to the boil. This is important because it can't boil as fast as this. Turn it down. Now one thing about the induction, it's extremely fast. So let that just reduce at about maybe 5 or 6 on the induction is perfect. Don't put a lid on it because you want to evaporate, and as it reduces, it actually intensifies in flavour. So lime zest, chilli, and a little bit of chopped coriander. Fresh coriander, gather it all up and just chop this nice and fine. This goes into the bowl. Let's put the lid on it. So I'm just going to kind of pulse it a little bit, not too much. I don't want it to over mix or break down the whole texture of the chicken. I'm happy with that because it's already minced. So I'm going to show you next is just how to make these little dumplings. And I'm going to make small little dumplings for the actual soup. When this is reduced, which I have one here already done, which I will show you now. After about 20 minutes, this is what it looks like. You can see it's slightly thickened. It's intensified. You can leave this or make this an hour ahead. It's actually far nicer, so it is, or even a day ahead. So I'm going to come back to that in a moment, but what I am going to concentrate on is cooking the dumplings. Before I shape them, I want to have the pan nice and hot. Start it off at about 6, and then a little bit of oil. Now, I'm going to let that warm up. So a good tip for you is a little bit of water just onto your hands. It can be cold. And then we're going to shape these nice and small. So just shape them and flatten them out, just like that. Small, tiny little dumpling. You can see the lovely specks of coriander and also chili in there. We're just going to do 6 of these. So that's the last one. So I'm going to place them onto a hot pan. That's what you want to hear, that light little sizzle as soon as they go onto the pan. So I'm going to give them about 2 or 3 minutes either side, and then we can finish off our broth. So after a couple of minutes, we're going to turn over the dumplings. And they've caught a little bit of colour, which is perfect. The protein that actually helps combine and stick everything together in the meat. So I'm just going to give the chicken dumplings another minute until they're just cooked through. So after a couple of minutes, the dumplings are done. And how you know, you touch them. And they're actually firm to the touch. So I'm just going to warm up the broth. We're going to taste it. Now before I taste it, we're going to put in some lime juice. So I've already used the zest, first in the broth and then also in the chicken dumplings. So this should give a lovely freshness to the soup. So squeeze in the full juice of the lime. Stir it through. It's going to use a spoon. We're going to taste it. I think that needs a little bit more fish sauce. It's spicy from the chili, obviously, but also I can taste the star anise and the carrot lime leaves. So a little bit more of the fish sauce goes in there. Stir that through. And it's kind of sticky because it's reduced because it was good chicken stock. Now, pass all these lovely aromatics through a sieve into a jug. And then this goes back in here. And then we're going to finish off our soup. We're going to do some pak choy. Readily growing now in Ireland. It's a lovely, lovely vegetable. Wonderful in stir fries. Pop them in there just to wilt them. They're going to cook very, very fast because I'm using the smaller ones. So just stir this through. Add in the dumplings, all goes into the pot. Rice noodles. I've just poured some boiling water. They've been soaking there. So I'll just drain off the water here. And there's no need to boil these because they're so fine. So we just place this just at the bottom of the bowl. Serve 6 of the dumplings and then the pak choy. See the way it's wilted, but it's kept its lovely freshness because you cook it very, very quickly. So just arrange that. I'll just use my tongs just to arrange it. Remember, presentation is very important. Some more of that lovely broth. So a nice big deep bowl for this. A few little bean sprouts, just all over the top. Finish it with a little bit of spring onion. Slice the spring onion just at an angle. Just going to sprinkle this just over the top of the actual soup. Some coriander. We have a little bit of chili here. Slice it really, really thin. Sprinkle it over the top. But you can always serve this on the side if you want to. How good does that look? I think everyone would enjoy that here in Google. That's my Vietnamese po with chicken dumplings. In the next programme, I'll be making some more speedy dishes, and I'll be cooking with Anya Lawler, an old friend and a great cook. I hope you'll join us.
Only the Board B Equality mark ensures you know where your food comes from, because it's independently checked at every stage.